Hello, everybody. This is Finding My Audience with Alan Strickland Williams. You are the audience. I am the Alan Strickland Williams. Hello. It is Sunday, August 10th. It's 11:53 a.m. Doing a rare a.m. recording. Got up kind of early today. I went grocery shopping, and it wasn't even 9:30 a.m. on a Sunday on the weekend. Can you believe that? Been kind of a scorcher here. Let's see what the weather is right now. Looking good out there. Natural light today. Love that. Already 79 degrees. Oof. That's rough. That's pretty rough. It's going to get up to, not that bad. Mid 80s. Not too bad. I don't really mind. I go out there. I take my shirt off. I go on my walk. People are commenting on my tan. The last person that did was my therapist, so I don't really know what that tells you. One thing you might have noticed is we didn't open with our typical song Selling Out by Tom Lehrer. That is because, unfortunately, Tom Lehrer passed at the timely age of 97, I believe. I've got his Wikipedia right here. When did he actually pass? It was July 26th. The last episode was July 24th. And it's August 10th. We're going to get this out week of August 11th. Hey, it's not even a full month. That's pretty good. But anyway, I thought it would make sense to do a Tom Lehrer-centric episode. This is where do you really begin? He was a musician, singer-songwriter, satirist, mathematician, professor. Interesting guy. He wrote a lot of that song, Selling Out, that brings in the show. I guess you would say cynical, dark. He did a lot of political songs that he's very well known for, and he did a lot of silly songs that are still dark or whatever, surreal, but would be, not necessarily trying to skewer anything, which he later on wrote very, very pointed things. He also wrote things that I guess you would best be described as clever. Probably the most widespread known thing that he ever did is a song that maybe you would have heard like in chemistry class or something. It's called The Elements. It was to the tune of some Gilbert and Sullivan I'm thinking major motion picture, major general song. So that and he names off all the elements. That's Tom Lehrer. I discovered Tom Lehrer. The reason why I'm doing this is, it wasn't just randomly that I chose that song for the podcast. I chose it because I'm a big Tom Lehrer fan, have been for a long, long time. I guess I've been an old man my whole life. But I was exposed to him through Dr. Demento. If you don't know who Dr. Demento is, Dr. Demento's big claim to fame, I guess, would be that he is where Weird Al came from. So, and Dr. Demento's real name is Bruce. What is his real name? Dr. Demento. Barry Hansen, and he is a musicologist. He's a music historian. He knows a lot about the blues. He has a book about that. But he also had a long running show, where he had this with this radio personality called Dr. Demento, and it was novelty music. So these are songs that would have been, like a parody song or a silly song, or maybe a lot of the old songs used to be the stuff that you would maybe hear in Looney Tunes, stuff like that. This guy Spike Jones, not the Spike Jones who does the skateboard stuff. Is that cool to reduce all of Spike Jones's career to skateboard stuff? This other guy, Spike Jones and his City Slickers, who this is like big band era, and like the whole thing was like they were using pots and pans and weird instruments and doing commentary during the songs. Like one of his things is I don't know why I'm talking about this guy when it's a Tom Lehrer episode, but kind of just in the whole like bucket of novelty music. And when you're a kid, I was like 4th grade, 5th grade. I was like, this is perfect. Basically, would take like classical music and then like put commentary over it. So it's like classical music, but then it turns into they're giving the commentary of a like Indy 500 race, and then like the cars explode, and that's going with the music. very zany, I guess you could say. So my entry point to Tom Lehrer was through that. Um, and anyway, he means a lot to me. So I thought it would make sense. Oh, and the other reason why I chose that song is because he I think in the 2000s released all of his material that he had ownership over into the public domain, which is incredibly cool. So basically, what I want to do is I wanted to just let you guys know that's what we're going to be doing this episode, and then we'll do right now just a little recap, what's been going on, whatever. Um, and then we'll jump back into that, and I'll play the songs. I wish that I wish that I could trust that there's some great live performances that he did. I think he did basically one in Copenhagen and one in Oslo. There are these two great live tapings that he did where he was in Europe. It's black and white. They're great. But every time I try to post them to, I was putting clips up and like the kind of posting that, trying to post that, like post on Instagram, whatever, put it on YouTube Shorts, and YouTube Shorts is like, this can't be posted as something more than a minute long. I guess that means that someone owns ownership of the video because he would have owned the music. So I don't really see what that was, but it must be whoever, must be Bjorn Bjornsson or whoever in the Netherlands or Scandinavia is sitting tight on this video content. They have it set up so that they won't let you. So what I would have let you do is do that and like have video, because the video is pretty, he's just a very dexterous. He's a phenomenal piano player. And it would give you something to watch for the song to add to the video element. But I said, hey, who cares? Let's just do it, and I'll just put up a picture of him or whatever the heck. And
he's one of the worst students we've got.
And then you're encouraged to go on your own. I've chosen like 10 or 11 songs that I really like the most that we'll get to. But that was just to set you guys up, let you guys know. If I hit this thing again, the whole point of this is so that it's here and out of the way. And I did it so that I could gesticulate and use my hands more. And instead, I'm just using my hands to hit the microphone. But hey, that's showbiz, baby. So let's see. What has happened since July 24th? Nothing in the world. Nothing in the world, that's for sure. I did a dry July. I sort of backed into doing it. Oh, also, first off, hello to my Patreons. My Patreons. Guys, join the Patreon. We're getting more regular with this thing. Is it ever going to be every week? More of you guys need to join the Patreon for that to happen. But there's a $1 tier. There's a $5 tier. If you're a fan, whatever, anything helps. And there's literally just, it's like Patreon, the way it works is like you get your money, but then like they use that money to pay your whatever you're subscribed to. So it's like I've just had like $100 in Patreon since I first got any Patreon subscribers, basically. So I'm not making any money on this. Your money would be going to specifically this, etc. And honestly, all this stuff is I just bought out of my own pocket. So do it for the tax write-off, I guess. But if you guys want to join, that'd be great. Would be able to devote more time to the podcast and all that. But I'm honestly, I'm pretty fine with where the podcast is at. I'm pretty fine with everything in general right now. That might be the Wellbutrin talking. I need to remember to take it. The problem is once you start to things start to gel more, and like I got on it a big part because I was having all these focus issues, right? And it really did help with that. And now I really am getting a lot done. Hitting the things that I wanted to get done, and doing so when the world is crazy and work is busy, and even work is kind of doubly busy now because I accidentally became important at work. There's some things happening in that realm that is good, and will lead to more money, but also more stress and all that. So that's basically what's going on there. But like I said, I feel pretty good with where I'm at with almost everything right now. Obviously, you always wish maybe you had more time off or better career or whatever you want to say. But for the most part, I'm pretty at ease with everything. And I feel like I am getting to things when I'm supposed to get to them. Stand up is one of those things too, where it's like stand up will never go away. And also it's like, I don't know. I think Norm wrote about this in his book, but it's like stand up kind of is like awesome, but really doesn't matter at all. Like in a way, like just in the fact that you can just completely destroy. Um, you can write the most amazing joke. You can have like completely like spontaneous moments with in a live show with the crowd, and it just doesn't really matter in the sense that like it doesn't change your life. It makes you feel really good in the moment, obviously, but as far as I can tell, at least that does not lead to um, me either. What I'm trying to say is either like contentment and like how you feel about yourself, or just like truly success. That seems not to have any bearing on it. So but I'm kind and like I'm always writing jokes, so it's sort of like I'll just get to that when I get to that. I've sort of consciously taken a step back from it recently because I'm not booked on anything, and I don't know. I've never been a big person to ask to be booked on shows. I just haven't. I guess if you're listening, book me on your show. But I don't know. I've been emailing people like unless I have a late night set or album, unless I'm prepping for something, I mean, again, I have too much shame for this business, which is crazy. Um, 'Cause I always thought I was a sociopath, but I guess not. But anyway, that's sort of where I'm at mentally, doing good. What else has gone on? Let me look at the calendar. I went camping. That was super fun. Went out near Ojai. It's actually where they're kind of near where there's these fires right now. Beautiful. Right? I that was before. Yeah, we did the podcast right before that. I went on a long hike in it was called the Piedra Blanca. It was like a sandstone formations. So this is up near Ojai, and then kind of like maybe 25 minutes northeast. Beautiful, gorgeous. I got it. Clearly, it was like there was a river, and the river just dried up. So I accidentally went down the riverbed for a long time. So I got kind of lost. And it was really funny. I got kind of lost and off the riverbed. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm sort of trapped. So I'm sort of like cutting through brush. Like I'm just completely off a trail. This happens to me all the time. And I don't know if you can believe that. But it's funny. I was going through and I could literally like see over like I knew where I was. I wasn't worried. I had water. Um, I knew if the worst come to worst, I would be able to get back to where my car was. But it is just funny when you're just kind of like, okay, like how did I get turned around and which way did I come, blah blah. And I'm just going through like sort of sagebrush, like dried sagebrush, and I see a like metal stand that's obviously either a trail marker or something. And so I see that, so I'm like, all right, let me get to that thing, and then that will get me back to a more proper trail. And it's funny, I get to this thing, and it was like it wasn't exactly a trail marker. It was like a display with like copy and about like the habitat, blah blah. And it just said in big letters, it just said "Welcome to Toad Country." So I went from sort of like half freaking out about how much water do I have, and okay, where did I park the car, and it was in that direction, okay, and then it just welcome to Toad Country. So that was pretty funny. Saw a dead tarantula getting eaten by ants on that hike, and then it was funny. The camping trip was really fun. I got up there before everybody else and came straight from a Friday that I was supposed to have off that I had to work because of the work stuff I was talking about, um, but which is fine. But then I go out and then I realize, oh, I stopped at a grocery store on the way there and got like firewood and some like sausages or bratwursts or whatever, hot dog buns. And I get there and I'm like, oh wow, I'm gonna be here before anybody. So like, and I was in so work mode. I instantly just like started. I made my tent. Um, I did everything. I laid out everything. I organized everything I needed, and then um, it started to get dark, and I'm like, oh, I don't know when people are going to get here. I have no cell reception, which is one of the best parts about the trip. And so I'm like, oh, I need to like make a fire. I'm like, God, it's been a long time since I made a fire. But I was surprised I was able to do it and do it with just like kindling. I didn't have like a fire starter thing. Um, and got that going and cooked food for myself. And then they got there late. They got there like almost at 10. Um, So anyway, so that was good, and then more people came the next day, and we went to it was Wheeler Gorge, and there was like these creeks and just beautiful. The weather was perfect, and then oh, it's funny too. Like one night, there was this like really charming couple next to us with their kid, like newborn baby. It seemed like, and the husband was like a British guy, and he just like he needed like firewood, and then we gave them firewood, then they gave us stuff for s'mores, which was kind of perfect because I bought all this stuff for s'mores, so they didn't have marshmallows at the grocery store for some reason. So they had marshmallows. So then we were able to do s'mores. So that was kind of this cool thing. But it was just so funny because like the guy was a British guy, very charming, and I was just like, if anyone's gonna murder us, it's gonna be this guy. Like this is part of the ploy. Like that's not the baby's not real. Like, the wife has been brought in on this. She doesn't really want to be in on this. Um, so that was scarier than any of the elements or the animals. And when I was breaking down my tent, there was a pretty large rattlesnake. If you want to see it, you can go to my Instagram, and I just posted it in a carousel gallery slides, whatever you want to call it. And it was pretty big, and it was weird because I didn't hear a rattle, um, but I just saw it when I was like bending down to get something. So I literally moved my entire tent over it to break it down further somewhere else. But that was pretty crazy. Anything else went on since then? Let me see. I think that's basically all that really happened. I mean, I guess what I'll say about the dry July was a good idea. It was funny. I went out literally the August 1st that night. I didn't really go out. I went to a friend's place and drank and had like a not the worst hangover ever, not the easiest one, but just like kind of like felt like I drank. And I also stopped. I was like 3 weeks off cigarettes. I smoked when I drank, and I don't know. I don't think I'll ever be done with it with anything. That's really not me. But it was. I was surprised how easy it was, and I'm surprised even how now I'm like, I feel very take it or leave it with that, I guess. And I guess it's because it's not like this is the first time I've ever taken a break or anything. It's I did wait way too long to start taking breaks from drinking, but it's interesting just because it's like I this doesn't always happen is what I'm saying. You take a step back from something and then like your sleep gets better and you feel better and you're accomplishing more things and like maybe one or two things goes your way that you weren't expecting to go your way and nothing terrible is happening either in your personal life. So it's kind of like a nice thing. I'm like, okay, well, if that's the trade off, then like, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. And then just sort of sparingly, and when you're meeting up with certain people or whatever, imbibing or whatever you want to say. But yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. And again, one thing goes wrong while I'm doing this podcast, and I 12 drinks in before 2 p.m. on Sunday. But I don't think that will happen. That's just sort of where I'm at with everything. I hope you guys are doing good. Still summer. It's hot in LA. I don't know how it is where you guys are, but we were just getting over a heat wave. And even that heat wave, I'm sorry, just wasn't that bad. I really didn't mind it. I actually kind of, I like the heat. I like the heat. I like sweating everything out. It feels good. So let's see. Was there anything else I needed to really hit on? I went to the doctor, but I don't really want to talk about that. Just because it's kind of not, there's something I'm worried about happening that the results were not definite. And by the way, it is not life threatening. The way I'm talking about it made it sound like, but it's something that is related to, I have psoriasis, which is technically like an autoimmune disorder, which is, the lamest, it's got to be the lamest one, right? Like, just be two nerds had sex, so I have psoriasis. It's like, okay, cool. My parents are nerds, is what I'm saying. But anyway, what the hell? Like someone's just banging. But anyway, that's basically I did some prep for it, or I was proactive about it, I should say, and I don't have anything definite to hear back about that. So, then all I will say is go see The Naked Gun. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it in theaters. I want to talk about it actually a little bit because I saw so many people I know, like maybe some group chats and stuff, were like, oh, the trailer looked awful, and I'm like, was the trailer the best trailer I've ever seen? No. Did it have, you know, it had maybe one or two jokes that were like, yes, definitely that should be in the trailer. Maybe the other ones were the best parts of the movie or the jokes, or the showing the comedy. But it was still like, by any measure, you watch and you're like, okay, that's what the Naked Gun is. I like jokes. I like comedy. I will see that. Um, so it just proves to you how like subjective truly comedy is, and how truly I just don't think anyone really knows anything about comedy, I guess is what I'm getting at. And then after that, so then there's that thing with the trailer, right? People are like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to see it. I'm like, yeah, you probably have no qualms about going to see Fantastic Four or Superman or whatever. Movies that I would literally rather eat shit than go see probably at this point. I really can't. You're, and it's so funny because now it's probably considered hack to even complain about comic movies, but I'm like, okay, but where's your evidence? Like what? Like okay, they're still making this garbage. Oh, Pedro Pascal's in it. He has anxiety. I guess I know why, because he made a terrible film. Like it's just kind of like give me a break. But anyway, go see Naked Gun. But then I saw someone who I like, think is a very funny comic, and they were just like ripping it, like they were calling it lazy and stuff, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like there's some hardest I've laughed at the theater since No Hard Feelings, which was I would say in the same vein, like actual funny comedies where you're like encouraged to laugh and whatever. Um, damn it, dude, it really makes so much noise. Just like, oh wait, now it's not making noise. Whatever. Um, but yeah, so go see Naked Gun, super funny. And then it's kind of like, oh, am I building up expectations too much? I'm like, if you like jokes and like laughing, you're gonna like the movie. Okay, there you go. The other thing I will say is I thought Marc Maron's new special, Panicked, was pretty incredible. Like to the point where I'm like, maybe one of the best specials I think I've ever seen. Um, Definitely one of the best of recent memory. But I just can't remember where I watched a special that I thought was so good in so many different ways of jokey jokes and like really saying things and like saying things but also undercutting what you just said and personal stuff and trauma stuff. And it's like he's been doing this forever. And I'll also say this: I've seen Marc Maron talk to people, and I've seen women, and I've just seen every ounce of joy drain from their face as to whatever awful thing he's probably saying, or how he's being weird, or whatever you want to say. But in like the current landscape of everything, and it was just really incredible. The Theo Von clips going around. I don't want to rehash anything, but there's just a lot of really really funny stuff in it. Um, and I think it is pretty incredible. It's like you think like that's a guy who literally was like being dragged around by Sam Kinison back in the 80s. He was a door guy at the Comedy Store. It's like you can say what you want, but it's like it's just funny. I saw like someone like, oh, it looks like Maron's turned into another liberal, blah blah blah, or something. I'm just like, hey, he's always been that for one thing, and then B, um, you just those conservatives really just do not understand comedy, and I think they do because every once in a while, like they'll fire off a funny meme, and they're pretty good at mean comedy. I mean, that's basically what Trump is, right? And I have no problem with mean comedy. I think mean comedy is great. I think one of the funniest words is no. I think one of the funniest things you can do is tell someone to shut up, like call someone stupid, fat, whatever. Fair game, love it. But especially if they're bad, well, maybe only if they're bad. But anyway, I think that it's pretty easy to like enjoy that. Um, so that's what I'll say about that part of it. But they like the way that they just don't get it. They don't understand that if someone is saying something against them or against something that they believe or like, that they can still like they don't know they're allowed to still laugh at it. And that's why I think there's don't have a very evolved brain for comedy. And that's fine. It's not for everybody. And it is subjective. But anyway, that's my things about that. So anyway, what we're going to do now is I'm just going to play some Tom Lehrer songs and I'm just going to talk about them. I've got a little outline here. This one, we'll listen to the full Selling Out. This was the theme song. I guess I did a little bit of research. I'll talk a little about Tom too. Tom was a child prodigy. He learned classical piano, I think, when he was very, very young, but he was more interested in show tunes, musicals, things like that. He went to Harvard super young. When he was at Harvard, he wrote these songs and would start performing them at like little parties, and then made like a record for like the staff. And then someone's husband, cousin, someone was a record person, and then kind of got him into this world. Um, Somewhere in there, he also was drafted, and I think he was in the NSA, which what did he say it stood for? I should have written all this down, but let's see. Tom Lehrer said worked at no, no something agency, whatever. Um, where is no? Come on, let me just. Why can I not find something that has definitely been said? No such agency, and I didn't even have to look it up. No such agency. Um, so he's probably like a code breaker or something like that. And there's some weird like rumors about him. There's rumors that he invented the Jello shot, which he says that he did not state it, or he said that maybe he said that he once said that he did it, invented it, but then he didn't really. But he definitely made Jello shots. He was also Stephen Sondheim's camp counselor at like a summer camp back when they were both kids. That's an interesting thing, because isn't it like Larry David and Richard Lewis went to the same summer camp? That's an interesting thing. But so anyway, this was from a production. So then he becomes a musician. He does wildly well. He's being played on the radio. His records are selling. He then there is a show called That Was the Week That Was, back in the 60s, that was sort of like a magazine news show recapping the week, and he would do a song on the show as part of the program. And so that's where a lot of his like very pointed social political stuff comes from. He then also did a stint with the electric company, which is like Sesame Street before Sesame Street. So then he has some songs about like LY and N apostrophe T, stuff that for kids. And then he did that tour where he played in Europe. And then he basically was like, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. And he made a couple like appearances here and there. There's actually a thing from maybe 20, 30 years ago where he plays one of his songs for some producer at some big thing, and Stephen Sondheim introduces him. I think that was like the last video recording of his performance. He seems like someone that has no sense of really greed or needing to like be in the spotlight, even though he's incredibly talented. If you don't know, we're about to find out. But great lyricist, great piano player, and also just very funny. Like some of the funniest things are literally his intros to the songs where he's just sort of talking and laying them out. Definitely witty. If you're into wit, he's the shit. And he basically said goodbye to recording and writing, and clearly by the fact that he released everything in the public domain, didn't care that much or wasn't precious about it. And then he basically spent the rest of his life teaching, and he would do that between, I think, Harvard or MIT, somewhere over there, and Santa Cruz out in California. And he also taught musical theater at Santa Cruz as well. I've always thought there would be like maybe there's a jukebox musical or piano musical, whatever you would call it, with his stuff, since it's in the public domain and like it tracks social stuff. And there's also funny, songs that could be made into a storyline and everything. But yeah, and he clearly was, a fan of that. I think it would be sort of, it shows up in the music. It would definitely be an appropriate way to comedically track his life as well as what was going on in the world. But anyway, that's sort of all the setup. I just think it's pretty incredible, very impressive. Never married, didn't have kids. Died at 97, and seemed like he has so many just funny things where he's like, I went from, what was it? Let's see, trying to bypass Maturity, Tom Lehrer. I went from adolescence to senility. I went from adolescence to senility, trying to bypass maturity. So a lot of stuff like that. He famously said he stopped doing. He retired from political satire when they awarded Henry Kissinger the Nobel Peace Prize. A true thing that happened, and that really does seem to be when he was like, "Okay, I'm good, I'm done." He did have one quote where it was like, at some point, someone asked him, "Do you wish you could satirize George W. Bush when Bush was in office?" And I think his reply was like, "I don't want to satirize him. I want to vaporize him," or something like that. So, and he was probably 70 at that point. But so he's, I just like people that kind of are just who they are, like their whole life. And that's, Tom Lehrer seems like that type of person. And I'm always just fascinated people that like have the taste of fame and the talent to carry it through and kind of step back from it. And it's not like he still worked, and he certainly did incorporate his talents into his teaching. And like I said, so this first song, Selling Out, I found some sheet music for it. He has it on his website, and it says, for UCSC, University of California, Santa Cruz, production of Park. Now, I don't know if that's shorthand for another musical. I don't really know a lot about musicals, or if this was like an original thing. I mean, clearly the song is original, but it was interesting. He had it written out, and it's like a round, and he had like a suggested thing for the different characters. It was mother, it was a son, daughter, mother, father. The recording is just him. But anyway, here is Selling Out by Tom Lehrer.
Selling out is easy to do. It's not so hard to find a buyer for you. When money talks, you're under its spell. Ah, but what do you have when there's nothing left to sell? Selling out, I'd rather call it compromise, is easy to do. Sometimes you have to close your eyes. It's not so hard. Being rich is no disgrace. To find a buyer for you, put on your shoes and join the race. When money talks, it has a very soothing voice. You're under its spell. It's up to you to make the choice. Ah, but what do you have know it, when there's nothing left to sell? Can't always break the rules. People who try are fools. When you get older, maybe then you will see. I've always found ideals don't take the place of meals. That's how it is and how it will always be. It's so nice to have integrity. I'll tell you why. If you really have integrity, it means your price is very high. So remember when you start to preach and moralize that we all are in the game, and brother, its name is compromise. It's so nice to have integrity. I'll tell you why. Sometimes you have to close your eyes. It's not really have integrity. So remember when you start to preach, you're under its that we all are in the game, and there is nothing left to sell.
Okay, so that was Selling Out. I hope you guys liked that. Next up, we've got this one. This is a, I guess you would call it a collegiate football, not march song, but like fight song. I guess you'd call it a parody of that. This song really spoke to me because when I was, even before junior high, my parents went to Florida State University. They met there. I am, in a way, a product of Florida State. And we went to a lot of home games for the Fightin' Seminoles, which they're very good too, apparently, what you always hear, at least. So you go to these home games, and it's like Florida college kids. And so even when I was in high school, I was like, these kids are drunk. And that was back when I was, I wouldn't say I was straight edge, but I was straight edge. And, just dumb, just like dumbness on display. And people are painting their shirt. People are painting their bodies. And there's the glitter boys. If you know anything about FSU, these glitter boys is like this tradition that's been passed down now. Guys that do completely garnet and completely gold, and they're basically half naked the whole time. But I'm just seeing people, get fall down drunk, and Florida State, it's always a party school first and everything. And so when the first time I heard this, and I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of this stuff at first I got through Napster, LimeWire, whatever it was at the time, and then eventually I would like find a way to order the CDs, or I think I found one or two in CD Warehouse back in the day. But this is Tom Lehrer's version of that, and it is called Fight Fiercely, Harvard.
I know it's very bad form to quote one's own reviews, but I would like to mention something that the New York Times said about me a year ago, which I've always treasured. They said, "Mr. Lehrer's muse is not fettered by such inhibiting factors as taste." Now we come to that peculiar bit of Americana known as the football fight song. I was reminded not too long ago, upon returning from my lesson with the Scrabble Pro at the Harvard Club in Boston, of the days of my undergraduacy long ago, when there used to be these very long Saturday afternoons in the fall with nothing to do. The library was closed. Just waiting around for the cocktail parties to begin. And on occasions like that, some of us used to wander over to the, I believe it was called the stadium, to see if anything might be going on over there. And one did come to realize that the football fight songs that one hears in comparable stadia have a tendency to be somewhat uncouth and even violent, and that it would be refreshing, to say the least, to find one that was a bit more genteel. And here it is, dedicated to my own alma mater and called Fight Fiercely, Harvard. Fight fiercely, Harvard, a fight, demonstrate to them our skill. Albeit they possess the might, nonetheless we have the will. How we will celebrate our victory. We shall invite the whole team up for tea. How jolly. Hurl that spheroid down the field and fight, fight, fight. Fight fiercely, Harvard. Fight, fight, fight. Impress them with our prowess. Do. Oh, fellas, do not let the crimson down. Be of stout heart and true. Come on, chaps, fight for Harvard's glorious name. Won't it be peachy if we win the game? Oh, goody. Let's try not to injure them, but fight, fight, fight. Let's not be rough, though. Fight, 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 and do fight fiercely. Fight, fight, fight.
How about that? Pretty good, right? I always liked the part. I always liked hurl that spheroid down the field. So anyway, that spoke to me because, the Florida State fight song is really like, it's like scalp them. It says scalp them. It's like get them. It's like, so definitely appreciate the humor there. Let's see. This was like and I don't really need to even set them up too much because if possible, I'm going to put in the ones with the intros, but I'll just speak to, again, Lehrer never married, he never had kids, truly was a genius. This is Tom Lehrer's When You Are Old and Gray.
The most popular type of popular song is, of course, the love song, and I'd like to illustrate several subspecies of this form during the evening. First of all, the type of love song where the fellow tells the girl, that although the years ahead will almost certainly destroy every vestige of her already dubious charms, that nonetheless his love for her will shine on forever through the years, you know? Another example of stark realism in the popular song. This particular example is called When You Are Old and Gray, and I'd like to dedicate it to anyone in the audience who is still in love with each other. Since I still appreciate you, let's find love while we may, because I know I'll hate you when you are old and gray. So say you love me here and now, I'll make the most of that. Say you love and trust me, for I know you'll disgust me when you're old and getting fat. An awful debility, a lessened utility, a loss of mobility is a strong possibility. In all probability, I'll lose my virility, and you your fertility and desirability. And this liability of total sterility will lead to hostility and a sense of futility. So let's act with agility while we still have facility, for we'll soon reach senility and lose the ability. Your teeth will start to go, dear, your waist will start to spread. In 20 years or so, dear, I'll wish that you were dead. I'll never love you then at all the way I do today. So please remember, when I leave in December, I told you so in May.
How's that? Pretty good, huh? He's a romantic. What can you say? This next one, this was one that I definitely remember. This was on a Dr. Demento compilation. This is definitely firmly in the silly novelty category. And I want you to listen closely because it has one of the best endings to any song ever. Here is the hunting song.
Almost every day during the hunting season, you see at least one item in the newspapers about somebody who has shot somebody else under the impression that he was a deer with a red hat, perhaps. Maybe a large, flesh-colored squirrel. At any rate, it seems to me that this marks an encouraging new trend in the field of blood sports and deserves a new type of hunting song, which I present herewith. I always will remember 'twas a year ago November, I went out to hunt some deer on a morning bright and clear. I went and shot the maximum the game laws would allow, 2 game wardens, 7 hunters, and a cow. I was in no mood to trifle, I took down my trusty rifle and went out to stalk my prey. What a haul I made that day. I tied them to my fender and I drove them home somehow. 2 game wardens, 7 hunters, and a cow. The law was very firm, it took away my permit, the worst punishment I ever endured. It turned out there was a reason, cows were out of season and one of the hunters wasn't insured. People ask me how I do it and I say there's nothing to it. You just stand there looking cute and when something moves, you shoot. And there's 10 stuffed heads in my trophy room right now. 2 game wardens, 7 hunters, and a purebred Guernsey cow.
All right, that was the hunting song by Tom Lehrer. It's Tom Lehrer Day. Rest in peace to Tom. Miss you. Never knew we got so little time with you, Tom. 97 years. This next song, this is one from that he did with that This Is the Week That Was program. This is called National Brotherhood Week. Let me look this up actually, because this is funny. This is like kind of speaks to how Trump is sort of like taking things away. Is this not going to come up? Okay, let me look at this then. So there was this thing called National Brotherhood Week that was, let's see, let's look this up. Brotherhood Week had its roots in rising anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic, and anti-Jewish sentiment in the 1920s. To counter that narrative, a group formed in 1927 called the National Conference for Christians and Jews with the aim of combating the hatred and intolerance they saw around them. This is from theworld.org. Specifically, religious intolerance. They came up with an idea, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is getting far away from what I wanted. National Brotherhood Week was celebrated for decades in the United States in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and historians say it had an impact on the way Americans think of themselves. So this was something that was adopted to bring people together and bridge divides and forego anti-insert the blank sentiment. And clearly National Brotherhood Week, this was something that was completely forgotten by the time I had heard this song. Jesus fucking Christ. I swear to fucking God. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to make sure that doesn't happen? Not touch anything. Okay. Hey, you got me surrounded. My hands are up in the air. But anyway, this is a great song, and it has, I lifted my senior year quote in the yearbook from this song, or maybe from the intro. So take a listen, and then I'll reveal what it is.
1 week of every year is designated National Brotherhood Week. This is just one of many such weeks honoring various worthy causes. One of my favorites is National Make Fun of the Handicapped Week, which Frank Fontaine and Jerry Lewis are in charge of, as you know. During National Brotherhood Week, various special events are arranged to drive home the message of brotherhood. This year, for example, on the first day of the week, Malcolm X was killed, which gives you an idea of how effective the whole thing is. I'm sure we all agree that we ought to love one another, and I know there are people in the world who do not love their fellow human beings, and I hate people like that. Here's a song about National Brotherhood Week. Oh, the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule, but during National Brotherhood Week, Lena Horne and Sheriff Clark are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise, as long as you don't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks. It's American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the Puerto Ricans 'cause it's very chic. Step up and shake the hand of someone you can't stand. You can tolerate him if you try. Oh, the Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants, and the Hindus hate the Muslims, and everybody hates the Jews. But during National Brotherhood Week, it's national everyone smile at one another hood week. Be nice to people who are inferior to you. It's only for a week, so have no fear. Be grateful that it doesn't last all year.
That was National Brotherhood Week by Tom Lehrer. And for those playing along at home, my high school yearbook quote was, "I know there are people in the world who do not love their fellow human beings, and I hate people like that." That really spoke to must have been a junior when you figured that out, right? Or senior, whatever it is. Next up, this is one of Lehrer's big political songs. It is about a real person. It is also about Operation Paperclip, which, if you don't know, was America's. Here's what I'll say about this. People are always, conspiracies are huge, right? People are always talking about conspiracies. People talk about the conspiracy of the moon landing. Was it real or fake? Or did Stanley Kubrick direct it? Blah, blah, blah. Was it a soundstage? Who cares? The real thing that did happen was America stole Nazi scientists to put a man on the moon. There was this guy, team of others, called Operation Paperclip. You can look it up. That's the conspiracy, and that's real. No one talks about that. People want to talk about, oh, is it real or fake, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, people want to talk about Epstein and all that stuff. Meanwhile, the Catholic Church is right there. It's just, I'm telling you. But we're stupid people. So anyway, this is Tom Lehrer's Werner von Braun.
And what is it that put America in the forefront of the nuclear nations? And what is it that will make it possible to spend $20 billion of your money to put some clown on the moon? Well, it was good old American know-how, that's what. As provided by good old Americans like Dr. Werner von Braun. Gather round while I sing you of Werner von Braun, a man whose allegiance is ruled by expedience. Call him a Nazi, he won't even frown. Nazi schmatzi, says Werner von Braun. Don't say that he's hypocritical, say rather that he's apolitical. Once the rockets are up, who cares where they come down? That's not my department, says Werner von Braun. Some have harsh words for this man of renown, but some think our attitude should be one of gratitude, like the widows and cripples in old London town, who owe their large pensions to Werner von Braun. You too may be a big hero, once you've learned to count backwards to 0. In German or English, I know how to count down. Und I'm learning Chinese, says Werner von Braun.
Isn't that great? Isn't that funny? Once the rockets are up, who cares where they come down? Come on, that's just good stuff. This is in the same vein. This is one of his, another sort of political song. Back in the early 60s, there was the second ecumenical, what's the real word of it? It was called Vatican II, but it was the Second Vatican Council, Second Ecumenical Council of the Vatican, where they basically come up with the rules or what's cool and what's not. I think this was the most recent one. Yes, it was the most recent one. So the most recent time the Catholic Church is updated was in the early 60s. So that tells you something. And they made a bunch of changes. And anyway, this is The Vatican Rag by Tom Lehrer.
Another big news story of the year concerned the Ecumenical Council in Rome, known as Vatican II. Among the things they did, in an attempt to make the church more commercial, was to introduce the vernacular into portions of the Mass to replace Latin and to widen somewhat the range of music permissible in the liturgy. But I feel that if they really want to sell the product in this secular age, what they ought to do is to redo some of the liturgical music in popular song forms. I have a modest example here. It's called The Vatican Rag. First you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Do whatever steps you want if you have cleared them with the pontiff. Everybody say his own, Kyrie eleison, doing the Vatican Rag. processional. Step into that small confessional. They're the guy who's got religion'll tell you if your sin's original. If it is, try playing it safer. Drink the wine and chew the wafer. 2, 4, 6, 8. Time to transubstantiate. So get down upon your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Make a cross on your abdomen. When in Rome, do like a Roman. Ave Maria, gee, it's good to see you. Getting ecstatic and sort of dramatic and doing the Vatican right.
Isn't that great? I mean, that is just so funny. Putting all that stuff in that type of format. How could you not love it? What is next? I apologize for the energy, but things are just frustrating me, and I just do want to get through it. Oh, this is a good one. This is, let me make sure I have the full title right. This is, again, another history, political one. This is part of that week that was. And this, that show that he would write the songs for. And I think about this with boomers sometimes. It's like their whole life really was, there's going to be nuclear warfare and we're all going to die. You know, that was kind of the MO. So I do give them a little bit of, maybe not leeway, but I always try to keep that context in mind whenever a boomer is boomering, because it's like they never really stood a chance, right? But anyway, this is about the Cold War, about nuclear warfare, and the impending danger that it posed. It's called "So Long, Mom," a song for World War III. Here you go.
This year we've been celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Civil War and the 50th anniversary of the beginning of World War I and the 20th anniversary of the end of World War II. So all in all, it's been a good year for the war buffs. And a number of LPs and television specials have come out capitalizing on all this nostalgia with particular emphasis on the songs of the various wars. I feel that if any songs are going to come out of World War III, we better start writing them now. I have one here. You might call it a bit of pre-nostalgia. This is the song that some of the boys sang as they went bravely off to World War III. So long, Mom, I'm off to drop the bomb, so don't wait up for me. But while you swelter down there in your shelter, you can see me on your TV. While we're attacking frontally, watch Brinkley and Huntley describing contrapuntally the cities we have lost. No need for you to miss a minute of the agonizing Holocaust. Yeah! Little Johnny Jones, he was a U.S. pilot, and no shrinking violet was he. He was mighty proud when World War III was declared. He wasn't scared, no siree. And this is what he said on his way to Armageddon. So long, Mom, I'm off to drop the bomb, so don't wait up for me. But though I may roam, I'll come back to my home, although it may be a pile of debris. Remember, Mommy, I'm off to get a commie, so send me a salami and try to smile somehow. I'll look for you when the war is over, an hour and a half from now.
Isn't that great? I mean, the upbeat music, and the cheerful delivery with the morose content. I love it. It was funny. It's like I posted some of these clips, and Bo Burnham has really never done it for me. Probably because I was exposed to him way too early. Like I remember him being a thing, like from the internet way back, and I was like, I wasn't crazy about it then. I've heard good things, but it's been interesting to see how many. So a lot of people are like, oh, so there was a Bo Burnham before Bo Burnham, and then like the real old heads, like in the comments on these clips, are like, Bo Burnham couldn't hold a candle to Tom Lehrer, which I'm sure is true, but I just don't know. But anyway, that was funny. So let's see. That was So Long Mom. What is next? This is a classic. I don't know if it was the first one I ever heard. Probably was. And this is also Dr. Demento, if I'm not mistaken. This is a carefree song about, young love and the oncoming of springtime. This is Poisoning Pigeons in the Park.
Spring is here, a suffering is here. Life is skittles and life is beer. I think the loveliest time of the year is the spring. I do, don't you? Of course you do. But there's one thing that makes spring complete for me, and makes every Sunday a treat for me. All the world seems in tune on a spring afternoon when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. Every Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me as we poison the pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun's shining bright, everything seems alright when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety in the Audubon Society with our games. They call it impiety and lack of propriety and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if Sunday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park. And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amid laughter and merriment, except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just takes a smidgen to poison a pigeon in the park.
And now I'm realizing that there is a through line from poisoning pigeons in the park to dogs will be shot, as I've talked about before if you listen to the show. Silver Lake Meadow, too many dogs, made a sign. You can also see that on Instagram. That was Poisoning Pigeons in the Park. That's a classic one. Just sort of dark but clever and not really saying anything. I guess in theory it was connected to their around that time there were more and more instances of the government engaging in, I guess we would have tried back then, ecological management, where they would try to prevent some species from taking on or encourage others or bring in another one too. It's, it's like there was an old lady who swallowed the fly, that type of thing. I saw some article in Reason that was like really connecting Tom Lehrer's Poisoning Pigeons in the Park to this movement and everything. And they're, on their whole anti-government kick. And I was like, I don't know if it was that deep, but anyway. And then this is another song that also touches on nuclear warfare and all of that good stuff, but in a very optimistic light. This is We Will All Go Together When We Go.
I am reminded at this point of a fellow I used to know whose name was Henry. Only to give you an idea of what an individualist he was, he spelled it H-E-N-3-R-Y. The 3 was silent, you see. Henry was financially independent, having inherited his father's tar and feather business, and was therefore able to devote his full time to such intellectual pursuits as writing. I particularly remember a heartwarming novel of his about a young necrophiliac who finally achieved his boyhood ambition by becoming coroner. The rest of you can look it up when you get home. In addition to writing, he indulged in a good deal of philosophizing. Like so many contemporary philosophers, he especially enjoyed giving helpful advice to people who were happier than he was. And one particular bit of advice which I recall, which is the reason I bring up this whole dreary story, is something he said once before they took him away to the Massachusetts State Home for the Bewildered. He said, "Life is like a sewer. What you get out of it depends on what you put into it." It's always seemed to me that this is precisely the sort of dynamic, positive thinking that we so desperately need today in these trying times of crisis and universal brouhaha. And so with this in mind, I have here a modern, positive, dynamic, uplifting song in the tradition of the great old revival hymns. This one might more accurately be termed a survival hymn. It goes like this. When you attend a funeral, it is sad to think that sooner or later those you love will do the same for you. And you may have thought it tragic, not to mention other adjectives, to think of all the weeping they will do. But don't you worry, no more ashes, no more sackcloth, and an armband made of black cloth will someday nevermore adorn a sleeve. For if the bomb that drops on you gets your friends and neighbors too, there'll be nobody left behind to grieve, and we will all go together when we go. What a comforting fact that is to know. Universal bereavement and inspiring achievement. Yes, we all will go together when we go. We will all go together when we go, all suffused with an incandescent glow. No one will have the endurance to collect on his insurance. Lloyds of London will be loaded when they go. Oh, we will all fry together when we fry. We'll be French fried potatoes by and by. There will be no more misery when the world is our rotisserie. Yes, we all will fry together when we fry. Down by the old maelstrom, there'll be a storm before the calm, and we will all bake together when we bake. There'll be nobody present at the wake, with complete participation in that grand incineration, nearly 3 billion hunks of well-done steak. Oh, we will all char together when we char, and let there be no moaning of the bar. Just sing out a Te Deum when you see that ICBM, and the party will be come as you are. Oh, we will all burn together when we burn. There'll be no need to stand and wait your turn. When it's time for the fallout and St. Peter calls us all out, we'll just drop our agendas and adjourn. You will all go directly to your respective Valhallas. Go directly, do not pass, go, do not collect $200. And we will all go together when we go. Every Hottentot and every Eskimo. When the air becomes Uranus, we will all go simultaneous. Yes, we all will go together when we all go together. Yes, we all will go together when we go.
That was "We Will All Go Together When We Go." I mean, great message, right? And honestly, it seems a little nostalgic or old-fashioned to think. I don't feel like we would be that lucky. I feel like, the world is so divided at this point, we can't even depend on mutually assured destruction, which really what What's the whole point of it? What are we doing? Okay, so we got two more. We'll get through these. The next one, this is another one that is funny. And I remember first time hearing this being sort of enjoying the naughtiness of it. I was very young. You know, I don't want to reveal that. But I've been weird for a long time. I was, you know, whatever. But anyway, this is a song about passion, and this is a good one. This is a good courting song, and I bet that I wonder. I actually didn't research this very much, but I would imagine this is big in certain circles. This is the masochism tango.
Another familiar type of love song is the passionate or fiery variety, usually in tango tempo, in which the singer exhorts his partner to haunt him and taunt him and, if at all possible, to consume him with a kiss of fire. This particular illustration of this genre is called the masochism tango. The touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You can raise welts like nobody else as we dance to the masochism tango. Let our love be a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism tango. At your command, before you here I stand, my heart is in my hand. Ugh. It's here that I must be. My heart entreats. Just hear those savage beats and go put on your cleats and come and trample me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany. That's why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire. It's aflame with desire, which is why I perspire when we tango. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can feel the pain yet, love, every time I hear drums. And I envy the rose that you held in your teeth, love, with the thorns underneath, love, sticking into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. The last time I needed 20 stitches to sew up the gash that you made with your lash as we dance to the masochism tango. Bash in my brain and make me scream with pain, then kick me once again and say we'll never part. I know too well I'm underneath your spell, so darling, if you smell something burning, it's my heart. Excuse me. Take your cigarette from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder. Fracture my spine and swear that you're mine as we dance to the masochism tango.
That was Masochism Tango by Tom Lehrer. Maybe he was a freak. I wouldn't be surprised. The button-up guy, you know, you always know with those types. There's always something else going on, right? Masochism Tango, that's a fun one. Send that to your dom. They'll appreciate that. And lastly, I'm going to close out on this one. This is a holiday one, so maybe we're not seasonal for it, but this song just still gets stuck in my head. Some of the rhymes in this song, that's one thing that the Sondheim connection, like Sondheim was so big on the eternal rhyme scheme and stuff like that. And I know that this is a thing in music that existed, beyond these two individuals, but Tom Lehrer's ability to rhyme on syllable. I don't have the exact nomenclature to talk about all this stuff, but it's just so impressive, and especially to be doing it with something so silly, or in such a silly cadence, I should say. Anyway, this is Tom's big Christmas song, spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica.
I'm spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica, wearing sandals, lighting candles by the sea. I spent Shavuos in East St. Louis, a charming spot, but clearly not the spot for me. Those eastern winters, I can't endure 'em, so every year I pack my gear and come out here till Purim. Rosh Hashanah I spend in Arizona, and Yom Kippur way down in Mississippi. But in December there's just one place for me. Amid the California flora, I'll be lighting my menorah. Like a baby in his cradle, I'll be playing with my dreidel, spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica by the sea. I'm spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica, wearing sandals, lighting candles by the sea. I spent Shavuos in East St. Louis, a charming spot, but clearly not the spot for me. Those eastern winters, I can't endure 'em, so every year I pack my gear and come out here till Purim. Rosh Hashanah I spend in Arizona, and Yom Kippur way down in Mississippi. But in December there's just one place for me. Amid the California flora, I'll be lighting my menorah. Like a baby in his cradle, I'll be playing with my dreidel. Here's to Judas Maccabeus, boy, if he could only see us spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica by the sea.
That was it. Those are the ones that I really gravitated towards. There's a lot of honorable mentions. I got it from Agnes, which is good. The Elements, like I said, that's worth a listen. Smut, Old Dope Peddler, the list goes on and on. He wrote a ton of songs. Check him out. Watch the video. Watch the live stuff. I think that no matter what your age is, I think that you can see the connections to what was happening then, and how little we've come to where we are now, with literally almost every aspect of it, which is a fittingly not optimistic note to end on. But I'm looking out the window. The sun is out. It's a bright day. I know I hit the microphone cord a lot. I know that there's a video mess up, but hey, you know what? Not really my problem. Not really my problem that the computer can't handle what it's supposed to do. It's not even using that much CPU. So I don't know. Maybe when it got jostled. Maybe this wire's on its last legs. Maybe I just need a new wire. Maybe a new wire will fix everything. Anyway, thanks for listening. Rest in peace, Tom Lehrer. You're the man. 97 years. That is crazy. That is a crazy age. I don't know if I want to live that long. But again, feeling good. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you. If you want Patreon, there's a $1 tier. Listen to the album, ran through, buy the album, get it on vinyl, get it for a friend. Someone has a birthday coming up, spend $25 on them and give them the gift of laughter. Anyway, thanks y'all. I'm Strickland Williams. I'll see you in the funny papers.